I'm Joe McPhee. This is the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame inductee profiles. My guest is Daune Yerex. Daune was born in 1930 in Spring Hill District near Manitoba. He was a southpaw pitcher with a good fastball and curve, and he pitched from the mid-1940s to the mid-1950s in Neepawa District with Eden and Spring Hill. He then moved to Winnipeg and managed the St. Avila Royals tournament team. When returning to Neepawa, he managed the Neepawa Farmers for 4 years and the Neepawa Cubs for 1 year. While manager of the Farmers, he was once Manager of the Year in the Yellowhead League, and the team won gold and silver medals at the provincial senior B level. On one occasion, in his younger days, Daune pitched a perfect game for the Brandon Cloverleafs on the July 1st tournament at Treeherne. Daune was a great workhorse on the mound and a big supporter of baseball all his life. Daune was inducted to the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame in 2003. Welcome, Daune.
Good to be here.
Tell me about your career starting out in baseball and growing up in Spring Hill.
Well, I never threw a baseball till I was 16 years old, and George Wilkinson was the manager of the Spring Hill Elevator, but he managed the Eden ball team, so he wanted me to go with them. And I was 3 years with Eden. I didn't pitch too much ball there because there was no league in those days. And tournament ball, which is 5 innings, and you wouldn't want to put somebody in there that was not too used to pitching. So I didn't get much pitching in. Then in 1950, some of the players, or some of the guys around Spring Hill wanted to get up a baseball team. Some of them had never played ball before. In fact, there was about 4 or 5 of them were 23, 25 years old before they started to play baseball. So they talked George and myself into coming back with Spring Hill, so we did. And that's where we started, in 1950. Mm-hmm. And we joined the Yerex and Minnedosa League the first year, and then the second year, Neepawa had this Neepawa District Baseball League, and we joined them, and we didn't do too well in the first couple of years, but we practiced and practiced, and finally, in the 4th year in there, I believe it was 1954, we won the Neepawa District League Championship. And there was 10 teams, by the way, in that league. Mm-hmm. And so from there we went 55 and 56. George was transferred to Winnipeg, and some of the players were younger players, took jobs other places, and we just the team just sort of folded about 1956 or 57.
Right. Yeah. And by this time you were doing a lot of the pitching, were you?
Yes, I was doing a lot of the pitching. Myself and Murray Culliser, we'd done the bulk of the pitching. I had lots of pitching when I came with Spring Hill. Mm-hmm. I did a lot of pitching, and but it was great to win the championship in 4 years.
Right.
I actually thought that Wellwood had a good, snappy little team there, and I think we could have maybe won it in 55, but this great left-hander who's in the Hall of Fame now, Del Hansen, he was a RCMP officer in Carberry. He came in with Wellwood, and he really. We didn't get many runs off him, if any at all, so we lost out there.
Right. Now, how would you describe yourself as a pitcher? Were you a fastball, overpowering pitcher, or were you a craftsman?
No, I mostly a fastball. Mm-hmm. I threw the odd curve, but I threw mostly a 3/4 arm, two-seamer, and the ball it curved over about maybe 3 or 4 inches over, and if I had a good day, it would rise a bit. That's what they told me. Some of the fans were standing behind the net, and they said, "We knew you were going to have a good day because your ball went over and a little bit up." So I got a lot of strikeouts, many strikeouts.
Good. Now, you left Neepawa area and moved to Winnipeg, and you started or got involved with a tournament team in there, as you call it, called St. Avila Royals. Could you explain how that developed?
Well, I knew 2 or 3 boys in there that had played ball out in Neepawa here, and they wanted to get a team up and just went around to tournaments. And so we got practicing in the spring, and they elected me as playing manager, and my goodness, we had these practices on the weekend in the spring, and there was 30 to 35 players showed up. So I had to pick a team out of that. So I picked a team, and we went around. We had fairly good success. Yes, we did. We went to southern Manitoba, east and north, and west as far as Ninette and up through there on weekends.
Right.
All on weekends.
Okay. Now you returned to Neepawa and you took up coaching, managing.
Yes, I come back and I was out of baseball for a little while, and then the farmers who played softball, and most of them, and then they wanted to play baseball. The same story. We got up this team, and they wanted me to become their manager, so I did. And we had, after a couple of years, we started to come up the winning ladder, and we done really well. In fact, it was, I think it was the 4th year we won the Manitoba The 3rd year we were in the provincial finals, but the 4th year we won it all.
All right.
And in Neepawa here, their tournament was in Neepawa that year, and we went right through the tournament, never lost a game. Mm-hmm. They were a great team. The farmers were a young team, great team.
And after that season, you switched your lines to the Cubs as a manager.
Well, yes. Then the Neepawa Cubs were an older team, and a lot of them were going to retire. So they were short of players. And we had a meeting and with the farmers and the Cubs, and they wanted a lot of my players to go with the Cubs, but the farmers said, no way. If we go into the senior league, we're going to go in as the farmers. So this is what happened. The Cubs went into the intermediate league, and the farmers went into the senior league.
Okay.
And if I would have had my druthers, I think I should have stayed with them for a couple of years anyway in the senior league. Mm-hmm. But I took on the Cubs, and we played in the Yellowhead League and in the intermediate ball. Yeah.
Now, maybe the highlight of your career was a no-hitter you pitched for the Brandon Cloverleafs in a tournament. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, I went down to the tournament with Gladstone. They lost their first game. I didn't play, so the Cloverleafs were there, and they were looking for a pitcher, so I went with them, and I pitched at Treeherne, I think it was, and I pitched against a team from Selkirk, and it was one of the easier games I've ever pitched in. It was there wasn't a runner reached first base in the game. Cloverleafs were a wonderful fielding team there. Well, they were a powerhouse. They in my opinion, they were the best amateur ball team in Manitoba. They were super. And that Morley McFarland, that pitcher, he was something else. He was.
Around what year was that? Do you remember?
That would be about 1955. I think it was 55 or 56. Yeah.
So you were just a young fellow at your peak about that time.
Well, yes, I had pitched a lot of ball up to that time, but yes, I was in there.
Now you're still active at 78 this year you will be. You're still involved playing ball on the slow pitch side.
Slow pitch, yes. We're playing slow pitch. I played the last 3 years and enjoyed it. And seen some of the players I used to play against years ago. So we go to quite a few tournaments around. And
so you're still going to tournaments?
Yes, we're still at it, yeah.
Good. Now, say you've been playing active in baseball for a good many years, so you must have seen some changes in the game since you started.
Yes, yes, we did. The diamonds, some of them were really something to, especially those number 2 diamonds. There'd be just maybe a 2x4 as a pitcher's plate, and it loosened up, so you picked it up and threw it off to the side, and you pitched out of a hole. No mounds or anything like that. But I remember one year we played in finals in our league, and we were finalists with Nipoa, and we played at they wouldn't allow us to play in Nipoa because it was on Sunday.
Okay.
So we played out at the airport, and the grass was pretty high, and I had 13 strikeouts in that game, and we lost the game in 7 innings. So, but it was the Diamonds. There's such an improvement since those days, you know. Yeah.
And what other differences would you see in the game?
Well, I think with the baseball now, the fielding is much better because the diamonds are smooth diamonds, bigger gloves,
right.
That. In those days, you played out there, the outfielders, even the infield, when the inning was over, they just threw their gloves back in the grass, and they disappeared in the grass. But no, it's quite an improvement. And then the senior league, the Manitoba Senior Baseball League, it came into being, and you seen good ball. There was excellent baseball, and it improved with other players from the intermediate teams watching this kind of ball. It improved all around. Yeah, it in my opinion, it did anyway. Yeah.
Okay, but the old-time tournaments were a great attraction, though, weren't they?
Oh, yes, it was all, yes, and the crowds that used to come out to those tournaments were up to 4,000 people in Nipoa. And at Nipoa, July the 1st tournament. Rivers was a great tournament, too. They always had it the first Monday in August. And they had 5 diamonds, 3 on their grounds, and the 2 diamonds at the Air Force Base, and they'd be up to 28, 30 teams there. And it was one of the last tournaments of the season, so you met teams from southern Manitoba, western Manitoba, teams that you normally wouldn't see during the season, and it was quite interesting. Very good. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much, Don.
There was a couple of incidents I would like to mention.
Sure.
One is a kind of it was an amusing incident that happened in Nipoa on July the 1st, and the other one was, well, let's say it's a little different, but the first one, I was pitching this game in Nipoa, and I was just stepping on the mound, and I noticed the umpire. He was kind of turned sideways, and I noticed something red. So I stopped, hesitated. I stepped off, and here his pants had fell down right to his ankles. And so I pointed to him and his pants were down, and he had red and white polka dot shorts on, and he was bent over. And in the crowd, they didn't pick it up till I pointed to his, and they roared and laughed. They just roared. But it was Brox DeHaan from Minnesota. He never would admit that he'd done it on purpose, but knowing him, I think he did. And the other one was, it was the next year playing in Neepawa, July the 1st. We were playing Neepawa. Spring Hill was playing Neepawa, and a very good, exciting game. And Spring Hill had a girls' softball team, and they were up in the stands. And it was a very good game. It was an exciting game, and those girls up there were just really into the game, and they doing a lot of yelling. The last bat, Neepawa had their last bat, and they had one out. And there was a runner on second base and a runner on third base. So I struck out the last two batters, and the game was over. We had won the game 3-2. Well, these two of the girls came rushing down out of the stands, rushed over to the mound, and I seen them coming and had their arms out. And I thought, well, they're not coming over here to shake hands. So I kind of, I sort of let on I was going to run away from them, but I didn't. I said, oh, what the heck? So they rushed up and they threw their arms around me. Both of them did, and gave me a kiss on each cheek. So I thought, well, it was a good ending anyways.
Great.
But there was a lot of great crowds at those ball tournaments. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Daune.
Well, thank you for having me.
This has been Joe McPhee for the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame inductee profiles, and my guest has been Daune Yerex.